all the way.
Man bun.
All right, here we go. We're gonna live stream this.
Oh God. Let's see if it's on there.
I'm so glad this is Zoom, not Hangout, not Google Meet,
Right? Nobody needs
as
that.
it used to be way back in the day. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it was Hangouts. That's why it's called HangOps.
You know what
All
I?
right.
Yeah.
The
Like you can see, I still don't even call it Google Meet. Like I'm like, who is that?
Right? Yeah.
Well, I joined a Google Meet, Google Hangout, whatever, for I don't know, another meeting I was in. And the one thing I realized is that Zoom has like really aggressive smoothing functionality that I'm always like, man, like my skin
I
looks
know.
really good on this. And I joined this meet and it was like, and I'm like, ah.
all of my meetings around the book with my editor and my co-author were in Google Meet, and every time I open, I'm like, no, I don't want to look
we
at
need
this.
to. Like
Oh my goodness.
I need to increase the smoothing. It's like touch up my appearance. It's like if I lower this down, it's like,
Yeah,
you
every
know.
time I open Google Meet, I'm like, I need to buy better skincare. What the hell?
Right?
Yeah, I know.
It
Yeah,
just
I
needs
had
to be spending more money.
Yeah, I had a lot of interviews on Zoom last year with my whole interviewing expedition, and there was one company that did all the interviews on Google Meet, and I was like, okay, yeah,
Small part of me when I did interviews was like, okay, do they really not use Zoom? Because that might be a problem for me if I take a job
right,
with.
right.
So, I don't
As a
choose based on language or database sources anymore. It's like, what do you use for video conferencing?
Right,
That's
yeah,
priority.
yeah. I mean, you'll get them on MySQL anyway. It's true.
Yeah.
Do I have the meeting? It's hangops. I'm just gonna put it in the chat. That's the link, right?
Yeah, hangops.jtimmerman.name, because
Yeah.
domains are cool. Yeah.
I know a few of you mentioned you wanted to join Hangops.
Mhm.
We're doing it weekly now at 1 p.m.
Hey, Scott.
Hi, Joshua.
How are you, my friend?
I'm all right.
Excellent.
So is Freya.
Freya says hello.
Did you like stage that wonderful, like right as you said that? It was like,
No,
No.
that's just what she does.
This is what
Oh.
she does. She's very she's now locked in the bedroom. I don't care. She's fine.
Our cat is old and screams. She's basically a toddler. She eats, screams, and poops. There's cats. Yeah. Cool.
sorry, I'm just
Just doing the tweeting.
well, I had some friends in one of my Slacks that was like complaining that they want to do it earlier. So I was like, all right, I'll let y'all know and you should join, you know.
Yeah.
But get some stuff on here. Well, actually now, Sylvia's here. The real question like is when do we talk about the Expensify S1 and their Bedrock database? Because now that we have
Christ, I did not know this was coming out today when I said yesterday that I was going to be free today, and I have not even read it yet. All I have read is like a number of friends' mistakes on it, and I'm just like, do I know?
well, since you mentioned that, I have it open. Oh, look at this. Hey, look, I have it open on my screen.
Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
goodness. Oh
So,
no. Help.
I have to because
I know it's like it's hard. Like you can't look away.
so this is
Blockchain-based data foundation.
I'm going to read this out
'Cause
loud
Oh,
we've
yes.
known
very
this
slowly.
we've known about Bedrock for years. Like Expensify has been sort of touting it for years, but it's like you put it in your S1.
It's just like,
Yeah.
look, I love SQLite as much as the next person, but private blockchain-based data foundation atop of a custom fork of SQLite, just chef kiss.
And you're
Is
like,
that
and it's built on that. Like you're saying in your S1, that's what it's built on. The thing is, like,
Hey.
you know that nobody on the street will understand any of these words.
Blockchain they do, and when
Blockchain,
they're like
they
Bitcoin,
showed-
right?
It's built on a
Yeah.
bedrock.
I mean, you called it the Bedrock. It must be good.
Sounds
Oh.
really solid.
I cannot.
Well, I mean, that's the fun part of what's it called? Minecraft, right? Is the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. That's all I know about Minecraft is the Bedrock edition. So I wonder if that's built on a private blockchain-based data foundation.
It is now.
Oh, hey
Somebody's gonna
Fred,
make
how's
that
it
happen.
going?
Hey, Fred.
Going good. I
We're just
heard
talk-
all the discussion of terrible blockchain stuff, and I felt like I needed to get in on this.
Yeah,
Well,
everybody needs to get in on this.
You know, it's I don't I have used SQLite in the past because yeah, I've also done terrible things with computers, but like never like a blockchain on top of SQLite.
And build like a fintech, like ostensibly a fintech company on top of it. And, put it in your S1. Hey, come buy our stock. This thing is built on literally a house of cards.
Well, so there was another line that I saw that I was like very well, I don't know. I don't have any feelings anymore about these things. There's so many ridiculous stuff in these S1s.
It's like at some point you can't put energy in it. You just like chuckle and walk away because that's the best thing you can do for your heart rate.
Yeah. And of course, like you have to put everything in there. Like you got to put all the gnarly whatever stuff. And they had this line which was, for fiscal 2019 and 2020, we identified a material weakness in our internal controls that we had insufficient technical skills to address complex issues, combined with insufficient accounting staff to implement process and review to ensure that misstatements did not occur. I mean, that's a pretty
That's where I want
loaded
to put my
sentence.
money.
Yeah.
So
Oxley. Hi.
we're all
yeah.
messed up inside. So we introduced blockchain.
Because why not?
I mean-
Old story. Sangre had a similar problem long before it went IPO. Like that was back when I started, and we had discovered that we were overcounting things. We had to basically completely rebuild the billing system at the time. But it was, instead of trying to do it live, we were like, okay, like events, throw them in files in S3, and so EMR on top. And that had its other issues around maintenance and who knew how it ran and all that. But it was fine for nobody was like blockchain. Like
Actually,
What year is it? It's like
I think the bad part of that combination is not the blockchain. I think it's actually the SQLite.
me too.
Because blockchain, great. I mean, it's not great. It's a waste of everything, but it seems to be pretty reliable. But
I mean, it is reliable.
SQLite,
My problem with blockchain is
you-
the energy and the climate and all that kind of stuff.
your
but-
system's corrupt, restore from backup is standard SQLite. Like, why would you decide to make that your interface of choice on top of blockchain, which already does all the transactional record keeping and stuff?
Like SQLite, that is individual files, and we're going to use Paxos on top to figure out all of the file-specific concurrency issues that have already been solved by so many data stores for 30 years.
All I have is just the guy that blinks. That meme.
I know.
So
Like,
SQLite, I mean, okay, sure. Like put it on a file system, I guess.
Well, I mean, you could also, I don't know, like put build a DNS system where you just put like a host file on a RAM disk. I don't know of anyone who actually has done that, but you could do that and it could be very
Stop
fast.
saying things, Pete. Stop giving them ideas.
Yeah, Pete, no words.
Pete,
You don't need
should
them.
know better by now.
It's like catnip. It's a catnip for all the technologists out there.
Right? Low hanging fruit of some sort.
Just because
Stop
you
yelling.
can.
I know. This is how we got Jurassic Park, man.
I like that. I like Redis. Anything.
Now we need Sam Jackson saying, "Hold on to your butts." Oh golly.
I'm still doing all my socials, my social media.
Yeah, you gotta get social with it.
Well, we got like Discord now. We got like the Twitter.
Oh, geez, yeah. I'm
Your Slack.
I'm remiss in my duties. I didn't put it in the Discord. I don't even have Discord open.
How do y'all get any work done over there?
This is what we do.
Really a question. I am working from one of these rooms. I'm working out of it's the room, which is like what's it called? The little
booth?
square phone, the booth, right? Yeah, the phone booth.
That's the word, booth.
Yeah, it really is. But like the
Is
sound
it-
quality in here is incredible because it's like highly insulated with like white noise generation and it's crazy. But it's also like my elbows,
Yeah.
like it's pretty, I'm not a claustrophobic person. If I was, I would find this to be very concerning.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
that'd
don't-
be awful.
I just
Mandy
don't
Walls.
want the people who design offices to realize that they can pack people in even tighter.
No.
Yeah.
One of my old coworkers, like their company moved into a new building. They bought it during the pandemic, was like, and so people are moving back into the office, which is the new office, and it is 140 capacity. There are no windows, and there are 2 bathrooms
In the whole office.
in the whole 140 person floor.
Wow.
One of the segments very early office was like that, and I had heard multiple times of reports of lines outside the bathroom, and I'm just like, who? Like, where's the fire department?
Yeah.
There are building codes that specify capacity and bathroom requirements. And that doesn't seem like that's enough.
Yeah, the other great thing is that there is an on-premise gym that people can use and stuff like that, but there are no shower facilities whatsoever in the place.
As soon as you said on-premises gym, I knew exactly what was going to come after that, and that is
It
not
might
what-
be
not what anybody wants.
yeah, it might not be a surprise to you that my friends are looking for other jobs right now because they're going to be required to come back into the office that has no windows that are openable and that's bathroom situation, and they also don't have a
Yeah, because
requirement to be vaccinated there. So it's going to be
tech
cool.
firms that treat their employees well don't already have trouble hiring. They have to decide how badly can we treat our employees. And
Yeah,
Or you can show up with
Explain
one of
about
those big gas masks and work in that all day.
Yeah, like that giant whole thing, whole face
Yeah,
shield
with
thing.
the 2 vents on the front, everything. Like,
oh, I don't know. I want a plague doctor mask, like the whole crow
yeah,
thing.
just like look like you're working out of what's it called? Forgot the name of the movie. Anyway,
The movie with the thing with the
yeah,
one of those.
old age man. I can't anymore.
yeah. I mean,
Indeed.
so my LinkedIn is just a continually blowing up stream of recruiters, and all my coworkers who are hiring managers are all saying, we can't get enough people even to interview. Why would people see those two things and think, we should put people in closets?
Well, Alma is hiring, and we are 100% remote.
Well, I mean, I am in a closet right now, but this is by choice. I will say.
You put yourself there, Pete.
I did put myself in this closet.
He's
It's
like,
beautiful.
ooh, life
Here,
choices.
no, let me take you on a tour. So like here's the wall, and this is another wall. Oh, actually, here's another wall.
Whoa, so many
And
walls.
then there is a door. The door is nice, and then there's like a desk here and my coffee.
This is so tiny.
Ow.
It's very small.
I mean, I know it's better
Well-
for the sound, like for its
Yeah.
purpose, but it's so tiny.
It's so tiny. But like, and luckily I'm not bothering. Like there are like real professional people because I'm like working out of a office here. There are like professional people doing business things out here.
So it's good that you're doing that in an isolated thing. Like you
Yeah,
can't hear you.
business is happening and nonsense is happening in this area.
Yes. Speaking of nonsense, hey, Mandy Walls,
Hey, Joshua Timberman.
how are you?
All right. I have no saw with me today. You're fine. It's okay.
No saw.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Come back with a saw.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know you were supposed to bring, show and tell.
Power tools. Yeah.
Oh.
Power
Always.
tools, yeah.
Visual aids always welcome on this. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, tomorrow
have
we're
a-
going to be talking to is it Tyler that does Sad Server?
Yeah, so we're gonna talk to Sad Server, the Twitter account Sad Server, who has come back from retirement.
I like that.
After a 2 year, maybe like a year and a
Something,
half
yeah.
hiatus. And yeah, gonna get that story. It's gonna be good
Heck
times.
yeah.
It's one of my favorite. I've actually been trying to find. I feel like all the Puppet Conf talks somehow like disappeared from the internet. But there was a conference talk of Sad Server at PuppetConf years ago, and I just like cannot find it. It was so good though.
I have a feeling that like old ChefConf talks are going to disappear.
Oh, a lot of them are gone already. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
The
man.
really early
remember
ones. were
how
the-
long it took for us to find that one talk by Jeff Hodges from Raycon, and it was like a whole like thing, all the way to Google to try to find it in their backups or some shit. Like it was a thing.
Oh, there were some of
Oh.
those early Rycon talks that were just incredible. It's like lost to,
Lost to the ages.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
was-
took down their YouTube account and all those were gone, and those speakers never thought to sort of keep copies or anything.
No, you don't,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have
I'm
a
sorry
bunch
to
of
be
old.
like,
Go ahead.
no, it's fine.
I just have a bunch of old like presentations on SlideShare that I didn't end up moving over to Speaker Deck. I think I don't even remember. It's been so long.
This is why I give
Wait,
mediocre
is Speaker
conference
Deck
talks.
gone?
What's that?
Is Speaker
Well-
Deck gone?
No,
Or
no, no, no.
SlideShare's
they're
still
there.
around.
Yeah, they're all still around. It's just like all my old talks are on those, and I don't know where things got recorded and whatnot. So at least I still have those presentations.
What was the
I will
story behind
say-
Speaker Deck though? Wasn't this like a GitHub side project when they were doing all the projects except making GitHub? Like, because they were doing all the other things? Like, was this one of those other projects?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember exactly. I just remember it like Tom from GitHub did he tweeted about it, and I was like, oh, this looks neat. This is cleaner than SlideShare. I'll use this for uploading slide decks.
Mhm.
It's about the story of that.
Yeah. Found.
He-
I don't know if
he
this is
also did-
accurate, point
He also did Show Off, which is Mandy's favorite presentation software.
Is that the like?
No, I think it's Prezi is the one that is my favorite.
Oh my God, the one where like you're zooming around the world. I get motion sickness from watching people present with Prezi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
I
much.
need Galaxy Brain to watch a Prezi presentation. Like it's a cool effect, but oh boy, hard to follow. Hey Tom, how you doing?
Doing great. Living the dream.
Is that a chalkboard behind you?
It is. It's a wall and a chalkboard.
Excellent.
I'll make it personal time now by covering up the logo. There you go.
Is it like the idea paint stuff that you can like paint or like just store chalkboard paint or something?
Just
like that?
regular chalkboard paint or chalkboard chalk that my wife drew. So I'm not that gifted, that's for sure.
Do you do stuff with ID Me? Because I just went through this process to get access into like IRS websites. And
Yeah.
it's the first time I've ever gone through it before.
Yeah, I'm the director of DevOps, a title I acquired 7 years ago. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
You know what? Sometimes you become a director of DevOps by choice or by not. It's fine. Don't let people
Exactly.
judge you. Don't let people judge you for that.
I'm not judging.
Exactly.
I gave up
Exactly.
on the DevOps isn't a title long ago.
Yeah. Once I
I-
realized that you could make more money with a ridiculous title, then
mean-
yeah, give it to me.
Yeah. Can I be a DevOps SRE? Like, do you get more money with that?
Sure, why not?
You could, I'm sure.
Or be a DevOps SRE advocate relations DevRel?
Principal though, you got.
You need some. You
Oh.
need sec in there
Principal
somehow.
staff.
Oh yeah.
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 You
was
need
gonna
some
say-
sec in there and some AI or ML. One or the
ML.
two.
There you go.
Definitely some
Yeah.
ML and ML sec.
Blockchain.
I mean, if there's a regex in any of the code, it's ML.
No, Joshua, no blockchain. Don't be silly.
Oh, we already talked about that.
The rest of this is perfectly
That's
reasonable.
silly.
Yeah, there's no silliness that happening in that at all. Oh my goodness. So we did talk about the Expensify S1, but even more exciting news is for our friends at Honeycomb who have I think a Series C.
Big money.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
50 million, $50 million.
Yep.
That's a
50
for them.
millions.
that's a lot of capital.
That is some capital. I like how Charity made sure that we were not that they were not going to sync in her tweet. I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was pretty funny.
I liked her tweet. Something
Hello,
about
kittens.
we're not going to die in the heat wave.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
there-
Molly.
Oh, hey Molly. Molly's joining us.
Yeah.
I don't want to register to unlock this article. Jeez, why do people do that?
Oh my goodness. What, to read the honeycomb announcement?
Yeah, I
or
know.
something
I was
else?
like, there. Oh, I was like, oh, cool. There's an article I can read about this. This is great. And it's like register with LinkedIn. And I'm like, I don't know if I feel good about that.
I mean, LinkedIn's for endorsements, right?
Yeah, I got some good endorsements on there.
I finally at some point got more endorsements for hugs than I got for Git.
Like real stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, the important things in life.
it's true. Because I mean, Git may not be around in some number of years, but I will always want to hug people.
I personally love my 9 endorsements for endorsements. That's like a personal, like I wish I could pin that actually
Very
higher up in the
Right?
list.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
yeah. Matt Ray was really good at trolling people with those. Like I think he gave me invertebrate zoology.
Wow,
That
that is
is really impressive.
That's very specific.
very specific.
so specific.
Invertebrate
knows?
I don't even
zoology.
know what endorsements I have. I used to troll friends with endorsements, but I don't know if I have any of my own. that
Well,
are funny.
at one point you could create your own things, but they took that away.
They took
before
that
they
away. Someone did put Butros in there. I'm looking at mine now because I've never looked at my LinkedIn in a while. Trolling and Butros. I think I know who that was.
I'm sure Mandy endorsed
That
me for
made
trolling.
it.
Oh, wow.
Ironically, like the LinkedIn team, one of the final years I was on the Velocity committee, like they submitted to talk about that as a product. And it's like, have you seen how
Do
people
you know
use
what we
it?
use it
Like,
for?
are you serious about this? Are you trolling us? What is going on here?
I mean, if they would talk about like the technological difficulties of scaling for all of the shit posts that
Yes,
people used it
scaling
for.
shit posting might have been
like
an
this is
interesting
what
talk.
we thought was going to
Yes.
happen. This is how humans used it, and this is how we learned some lessons. I would actually watch that.
I would watch that talk in a second. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Like,
we saw
we've-
John Adams
we've-
talk about scaling shit posting with all of his Twitter talks at Velocity.
I will miss Velocity. I was sad for that.
The key is to
Yeah.
be broad enough with your target audience so that you piss off a large enough group of people over a geographically dispersed area of the world, so you have a regular uptime of anger.
Rolling anger across the world.
Yeah, and
Like,
just like
if-
you think
if you're
it's done,
if
and you
your
go to bed, and you
shitposting
wake up,
isn't-
realize the Eurozone is mad. Yeah.
If your shit posting isn't angering people in Asia, you've got a whole like
You're missing a
12-hour
demo, like a full demo right there. That's a big demographic. Joshua, as I have to bail soon, but were you the one who endorsed me on LinkedIn for technology that makes you go OMG WTF?
No,
Because somebody endorsed me for that.
no, I don't think I did. Now I kind of want
Wow.
Goals. Hashtag goals.
Yeah. Wow. That
The most endorsements I have is for Solaris, so I'm just gonna like Homer
it's-
Bush's
to.
emoji.
It's not AIX or HPUX.
That's my second one.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Who hurt you?
unfortunately, my highest endorsement count is Red Hat Linux, and I have not purposely touched that in a decade.
I don't remember how to find endorsements. Do you scroll to the bottom still?
Oh my God. Yeah. You have to
Somewhere in the
scroll
middle of your
down.
Skills. It's skills. It's under skills. Like it's not
Skills and
endorsements.
endorsements. I see. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 35 for hugs and 33 for Git.
Nice.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, your hugs are really good. So
Well, thank you.
That's deserved. That is a deserved endorsement.
Sofas. I have 7 for sofas.
Not Sophos, the antivirus company.
No, sofas like as in I guess couches.
The ones
That's-
you sit on.
That
Yeah,
I know what those are from.
probably Matt Ray.
That's a couch TV joke right there.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Relax.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh, I still remember those days, man.
Oh
Is
god.
couch? I mean, everything is still around, but is couch still around? Like, is that still a
Did-
thing?
Wasn't Couchbase bought
I'm
out by
sure
IBM?
somewhere out there is still running the chef version that ran on top of that.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Nandy, we were
Probably.
talking to some people just yesterday who are running a version of Chef that still runs that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like this is how people like find out things.
Well, so being on the operations team for Hosted Chef for some years, I got to see the graphs of client versions hitting the API, and up until my last day in January this year, there were still people running 0.9 against Hosted Chef.
I don't even know how that one was still running. Like that is like an attestation of the just crazy bananas nonsense of
It's
version 9.
probably a Sonian box.
Yeah, which honestly, they had a few. I remember we had some like early EC2, and we're talking like I provisioned the server in like 2009 or earlier than that,
Mhm.
would like not die. They would just like, you would never get an instance notification warning. They just kept on going. And then my
Yeah.
assumption was that like M1 medium, which like you should not run one of these M1 mediums, was like a box, like a Dell box, like shoved in the bottom of a rack in this like giant data center, like the Indiana Jones arc of computing down in this data center.
Oh my goodness.
And people have just forgotten about that thing.
Oh my goodness, no. Let's no. And it was a non-zero number, or a non-single digit number of 0.9s. It was like dozens, maybe. And there was like hundreds that were between 0.10 and 10 dot whatever the last release of 10 was, and then a crap ton of 11, because 12 was such a monumental change in compatibility. Yeah, it was bananas. I wish I had a screenshot of that graph on the last day.
It's incredible. Love it.
I probably actually had a screenshot, but my Evernote like filled up, so from Skitch, so it probably doesn't exist anymore. They probably purged it.
Hey Patrick, how are you?
I'm well. I was thinking about, I worked for a company that got bought by IBM, and I remember looking for chef resources inside of IBM, because one of the things they always told you about IBM was the internal documentation system is so wonderful. You can find whatever you never want. And it was like, do you want to run Chef on like an AIX box or like a mainframe, like an S90 somewhere? And I was just like, this is bad. Like, I don't know who ported this, or, oh, I'm sorry.
Scott.
You're like, this is the bad place.
Yeah, it literally was me who ported it to S390X and AIX.
It was Scott.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say,
Love you, Scott.
isn't it all notes? Like you use Lotus Notes or whatever it's called now?
Yeah, like when I was at IBM back in like the early 2000s, and all the documentation was all in Lotus Notes team rooms. Our team switched everything over to a wiki.
I gotta hop off
Rebels.
for a second, but I will come back.
Okay.
I'll see you all in a minute.
Yeah.
The wiki is incredibly bold. That's very modern.
Yeah, I was in charge of setting it up, so I evaluated and compared and contrasted all of the bleeding edge wiki technology of the time, like MediaWiki, and TikiWiki, and Twiki, and all kinds of
Twiki
other
sounds like
things.
a name we would come up with.
If Twiki didn't get a mention, I was going to ask if you had seen it.
We
That's
finally
the longest running wiki I've been responsible for.
we finally settled on Zarea, which is not a wiki, it's a CMS, and it was overly terrifying, and I had to like make everything with the IBM CSS in it, and it was an adventure.
Okay, I have to go and do a thing with the hiring stuff, because I'm hiring, by the way.
Excellent.
But
Scott's hiring for his team.
I'm hiring for my team, and
All right.
I have to go do a debrief for people. So it'll be
Excellent.
fun.
Bye, Scott.
And-
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Scott works at HashiCorp, for those who don't know. So, of course, HashiCorp, like everybody else, is hiring like gangbusters.
Yeah.
We're just keeping track of all
Everyone's
my show
hiring.
notes so I can, do the proper hosting thing. That's what you're supposed to do, right, Mandy?
Yes, you need like 60 million hashtags and then all the timestamps for all of your videos for you.
Oh,
Upload.
I didn't do a timestamp on this one. I don't even know. I don't know how long we've been streaming.
Have you plugged the
30 minutes.
Patreon yet?
Oh, like and subscribe on the Patreon, ring that bell on Twitch.
You're so good at this.
I listen to a lot of content creators. It all bleeds together. Like some of them are on Twitch, some of them are on
I'm
YouTube.
like, the bells are not on Twitch. What is he talking about?
Well, Sylvia, I'm sure that if there was a bell to ring, you'd be able to find it and it would probably be broken. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that is what I do. We're at a point now where like Sean Kilgore, who I work with, like he bonked his head on a door yesterday and he just sends me a signal. He's like, I'm blaming that on you. And I'm like, I literally around the same time bonked my head on my car door. So I guess we're even.
Yeah. Like there's like some kind of what's that called when it's not a coincidence, but there's like a joint thing. I don't know. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't words.
Words are hard today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's words are hard. Yeah. Well, I appreciate all of you joining us and hanging out when you could be hanging out with Matt Stratton on the Pulumi Cloud Engineering Summit. But we had a fun chat yesterday on the Twitter space. Once I figured out how to turn my mic on in the Twitter space.
I haven't tried that stuff yet. Like I see them pop up and I'm like, I don't know. And I downloaded Clubhouse at one point when that was a thing. And I'm like,
Yeah, it's like it seems like it's mobile only for anything that's useful. Like I was listening on my desktop, and then Matt said, "Hey, raise your hand if you want to join in and speak." And so I'm like, how do I raise my hand? I didn't have the little heart button to click and put an emoji on there. I was very sad. So I sent him a DM and then he called me out and I was embarrassed.
oh,
I wasn't that embarrassed.
I think one of the key selling points for a new M1 Mac is the ability to run iOS apps on desktop. So you can run those mobile only apps on your desktop with a real keyboard and mouse.
Wait, what? I didn't watch any of the Apple stuff.
So the new Apple Silicon Macs all support, even the previous generation, support running iOS apps natively. And so if a company makes a mobile only app with an M1 chip, you can run it on your desktop.
I think they sort of walked that back a tiny bit after the Flex. At first it was, and I actually I have a M1 Air and I had installed some of like my favorite phone games on it. But I think at some point they realized a lot of developers are doing some really interesting stuff with how it syncs with iCloud. So they sort of gave the developers a flag to be like, well, like technically all of those apps can run on the M1, but the owners of the apps can sort of not allow that installed. So I actually have a couple of things installed on my M1 Air that don't get updates anymore because technically they're not supposed to be installable here anymore, but I still have them. And this is how you end up with a Chef Server 0.9 running some.
Gotta love all that
exactly
freedom
how-
of
Somehow.
cards, right?
Oh my goodness.
Tiny window, and I just did that because this is what I do.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's disappointing, honestly. But
I know, like I have a very old version of 2 Dots running on this M1 Air, and I still play it. Sticked out that battery in like 2 hours too.
Oh my goodness.
The only thing on this laptop can do Zoom for 24 hours probably. Cannot do 2 Dots more than 1 hour.
I just want
You're
to.
gonna have to make sure you keep it because the resale value on like old devices that can still play things like Flappy Bird or whatever like still exist, right? Thousands of dollars for like a.
Yeah, but I'd be giving out my iCloud account with it though.
I mean, the small sacrifices we have to make for the money, right?
Yeah, get paid, man. You can always get a new iCloud account.
You gotta get those things are like candy, right? Halloween free candy time soon, right? That's like in a week.
How are you going to get a new email address? It's impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeez. I have an email address for Gmail that I've had since 2004 when it was still in like private beta, invite only. And there are people who think that that's their email address. So I just have like this catch-all filter that anything that goes to that email address, because I stopped using it years ago, but everything that goes in that just gets flagged. And then like once a month I go through there and be like, oh, I need to unsubscribe or go change the account password on all these things. It's terrible. Email's
my
hard.
my wife is still using an AOL account for some of her email. Like she has a modern Gmail account for a lot of things, but like occasionally I have to go check my AOL mail to see if like the billing thing went there. And I'm like, those still work? I wanted to check and make sure there was still an MX record.
I actually, so like when I first met my husband, his primary email was AOL, and I distinctly remember making him switch before we got engaged.
Nice.
Mandy and Joshua, I have to share a good story. Mary, who I think is a coworker of yours from Chef, former coworker, she just sent me a Twitter DM because she's watching us on YouTube now. So shout out to Mary. But Mary and I met in Seattle at an American Library Association conference in, I think it was 2013. It's very easy for me to remember that day because that's also the conference where I met my partner of that many years. He's a librarian. That's you're looking for the hot singles, go to an American Library Association conference.
Clearly.
It was just a real small world. So it was really wonderful to connect library world to Alma and HangOps world.
That's great. That is absolutely great.
She's also DMing me to thank her for the shout out. Thank us for the shout out, but shout out to Mary.
She can join us. On the Zoom.
She's doing some other stuff. She's watching us on YouTube.
Sure.
But hopefully someday, Mary, we'll see you all up in here.
Yes, indeed. Someday when we can all travel and go to the same place and be in the same room and breathe the same air. Hopefully someday.
I dream of that day.
Yes. I miss hugs.
I mean, as I hear it, last week UConn came pretty close.
Yeah, 3,500 people at KubeCon.
Yeah, I almost went out there to visit for one day, but I'm far enough. I'm close enough that it's drivable. Far enough that I was like, it's 2 hours. But it's like it's 2 hours, 1.5 of which just downtown LA. Like they had picked a different spot in LA, I probably would have made it. It was just like, why the convention center? Trying to kill it. I ended up.
Yeah, probably because it's enormous. I don't know.
I know, like I know, but it's like people like LAX is less than 10 miles away from that place, and people were like, it's an hour to get from the airport to here, and I'm like, yeah. Have you met LA?
Right. I've only been a tourist in LA. Kind of. Like I've been there for a couple of work things, but I was like in Burbank.
Yeah, that's still doable. Like downtown though, it was literally on maps like 2 hours, and I was like, I bet 90 minutes of that is just that last part.
Yep. Yeah, I remember when Chef coworkers would come out to Denver, they'd be down in DTC, and that is like a 45-minute drive with zero traffic for me. So yeah, sorry, Chef friends, but I'm not coming to dinner at rush hour time. You know, a 1 hour dinner is not like worth 3 hours of my life in the car. Well, I'll see you in Seattle.
I'm having trouble. It's like I ignore most virtual conferences when I'm at home because other things are interesting, and I'm like, I feel like I want to go back to a physical conference, so I can ignore that in the hallway as well. Like I missed that part of the experience.
Yeah, I think in what I attended, 3 OzCons, 3 or 4 velocities, and all the chef confs, and I probably spent a grand total of 6 hours in all of those in actual talks.
I've been to 2 velocities. I've had to attend a tracking one because I was the track host, but in the one where I was a speaker, I think I attended like one other talk.
Yeah.
Especially with Velocity, because Velocity was so nice. They'll send you like all the videos afterwards.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Yeah, I love that.
But then who has the time to go back and watch all those videos?
I actually had gone back and watched a couple that I knew were important, or like schedule, or I'm like, if I'm talking to someone interesting and I don't want to go in there, like that was really useful.
Mhm.
But yeah, hallway track always wins.
Always the best part. Or if
But
you're
it
at a
is-
conference, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, especially for me, because I don't travel much and I didn't go to a lot of conferences even before COVID. So whenever I do go, I'm just like all about meeting people.
Yep, totally. Yeah, and if you're at a conference in Seattle, you have to go to the Dilla Room track, apparently.
No, never.
I haven't done Seattle yet.
No, in
Mandy's like,
Seattle,
no.
you go to Ding Tai Fung, or you go to one of the other soup dumpling places, or any other of a million other places rather than Dilla Room.
But it's tiny, and we filled up the front of the bar, and nobody could go anywhere in there. It was awesome.
And
It's
it's
not awesome.
hot and loud, and your feet stick to the floor, and like, yeah. So thanks.
There was another dive bar in Seattle that we'd go to a lot that was over by that Sheraton and the Hyatt and all those. I don't remember which one that was.
I don't know.
It's like down the street from Palace Kitchen. It must not have been memorable enough a dive bar if I can't remember it.
You
I was trying to remember the dive bar that I kept ending up with at Monitorama, like out in Portland.
Oh yeah, well Portland,
Oh,
I think Portland only has dive bars.
yeah, they were all.
But I remember like talking to like the bartender, and he's like, "Yeah, they raised my rent in my apartment down the street." I'm like, "Oh, that's rough." He's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be like $475," and I'm like, "Oh, I feel so bad for you. I want a $475 apartment. Like that sounds incredible."
Yeah, but also how much does the bartender make? The thing with Monitorama too, because of how like it's based in that specific theater, which can only seat so many people, so they only have so many tickets, and therefore it was relatively straightforward for all the companies who are coming in to do sponsorships to be like, okay, we're gonna rent that bar for the evening, and it can seat the exact same number of people.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the multi-tracks, which is like thousands of humans, and
I'm a sucker for a good single track conference because I enjoy
Monitorama, yeah.
I enjoy the lack of cognitive load. Like I don't have to think about it. Like I just have to get there and get a coffee. And then there's the shared experience thing. And I think that there's that whole thing about later on you're sitting next to somebody you don't know and you get to complain about like one speaker that was bad that you all got to enjoy, which I like. I like that part.
I've been to only one Monitorama, but it was my first ever technical conference. So I was very spoiled. So like afterwards, when I went to a Velocity, I was very overwhelmed, which is why I ended up just not going to any talks. It's just like, wait, what? I have to pick from all these? No.
Yeah. Well, OzCon was worse because it was even more talks. I think OzCon had as many different categories of talks as Velocity had tracks. Like,
Mind blowing.
Yeah, the Oregon Convention Center is enormous, and OzCon filled it up. Welcome back, Pete. We're just talking about Monitorama and hallway tracks and dive bars.
Yeah, love a good all the above. I love Monitorama.
Yeah,
I love hallway tracks.
Mhm.
Love dive bars. Yeah.
It's
trifecta right there. I mean, if you could do a multi-track monitoring conference in a dive bar, like I'd be there for that.
Maybe not. Maybe let's not.
Probably not a good idea. Like the sticky
This is why we don't
floors.
let Pete plan conferences.
Yeah, absolutely
I
not.
could book that in Lowell. I know 4 disgusting bars. We could, I definitely have 4 projectors that I could get my hands on. Like we could do this. It'd be like 15 people at 4 different bars in Lowell.
Oh my gosh.
How would you handle transportation between the bars?
Oh,
Be the most
I don't
low
know.
rent production we've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably have to like rent some pedicabs or something.
Or rent a
Sure.
school bus. That'd be cool.
It's a dive bar crawl with a talk at each bar.
Hell yeah.
Acre
Yeah.
Pub, here we come.
The Denver Rails user group meetings were at this hipster tapas bar near downtown Denver. And the projector situation changed every single month because they kept remodeling everything in the place. And usually half the meetup was just trying to get the presenter's projector thing working. It was fabulous. I guess there's
Take a
some,
challenge out of it. It's like, you know, in order to
Yeah.
in order to be able to speak at this meetup, you have to figure out this setup. Okay.
you must be this tall
Taking
to
check.
ride this ride.
So
When there's like technical problems with the projector, are lots of people helpful, or is everyone like, ooh, not my job today? Like just kind of like in back.
I think it varies by meetup, right? You know, if you're at a meetup of, you know, I don't know, maybe lawyers, they probably don't, but you know, at a meetup full of IT professionals, they're probably all about it.
Oh yeah, they're all about ready to help.
Yeah.
Probably like very much into the too many cooks in the kitchen scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just put in an RT ticket in and they'll get on it.
Yeah. I know that I've done like tech work for conferences before, and it's
Mhm.
definitely helpful when you're trying to fix something under a time crunch to have to explain the situation 7 times to people who walk up.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Also, I will say that Joshua just like threw the RT in there because he's trying to go for the most number of PTSD flares for all of us today.
Yeah.
Well,
What is this historical reference day? I don't.
I'm old?
What are you trying to do, man? Yeah, so are we. Thank you.
oh,
Thanks for
sorry.
reminding us.
So speaking of sharing stories of the times of yore, next week, and speaking of meetups, next week we have our Disruptions and Discoveries meetup. So this is my obligatory plug for the meetup that we run here at Alma. It's once a month, and we have a registration link on our website.
Does the treadmill guy still show up on the treadmill?
I don't know about a treadmill.
Did
So
someone?
there was I went to an Alma meetup. I think it was pre-Pete. I think
Yeah, maybe.
Madeline invited me, and there was a gentleman that joined, and he was walking on a treadmill, and I asked if he was doing penance, and he went on a whole thing about being healthy, which is true. He's like much healthier than I am, because but yeah, I would have been out of breath. It would have been very sad to watch me walk on a treadmill and try to have a conversation.
I remember
Yeah,
Matt Ray
that's
used to
not
do
great.
that. He had like a treadmill standing desk that
Yeah.
he used for a while.
I have a treadmill that doesn't have arms in it that I put under this desk sometimes when I raise it up, but mostly in the mornings when it's cold outside and I don't want to go out for a walk.
We used to have one of those we actually still have one of those in our office, and I attempted it once, and turns out I don't have that kind of coordination.
I can't type with it. Yeah, I'm like,
Oh, no way.
Like, no.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do that. I feel like that would just, it's too challenging.
I know people who do. I'm not one of those people. Also, like, I'm one of those people who will occasionally just trip on the ground. So, you know, adding treadmill to the whole desk situation is just asking for it.
not going to happen.
Yeah, it just sounds like a bad plan for me. I mean, my desk, you know, is right here with the wall. Like I would end up flying into the wall, and somehow it would end up on YouTube and probably get more views than anything else I do. So maybe I should do that. What do you think, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, I actually was walking into this room that I'm in, the phone booth thing, and I wasn't aware that you have to step up to get into it. And so that was pretty funny as I like open the door and like walk in expecting just like, yeah, you just walk into the thing, right? How hard is that? It turns out pretty hard. And especially
Is
when
there
you're
a
like,
dent on the wall from your head?
there's like a mark, there's like a forehead mark, on the glass, like a little bit greasy. Like I should probably wipe that off. It happens. It's fine.
Yeah, that isn't upholstering and noise canceling on there. That's padding for the wall so you don't damage the interior.
I guess the good news is that like because of the sound noise canceling, no one could hear me like swearing and like upset about completely falling into things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like the therapy room, right? Like there's just times you leave a meeting, you walk directly in there, you close the door, you face the corner, you just scream for minutes.
Yeah.
And people are like,
nobody
you
can
okay?
hear-
You're like, yeah, I'm fine. Why?
Yeah. We need those.
To take it back to bathrooms, that's what we always use the large stall in the bathroom for.
Treadmill?
Screen.
No, it's for the after meetings when you want to. Well, we would talk about if you want to scream or cry or whatever you want to do. Process emotions, we'll say.
Yeah,
There you
the chef office had a quiet room where you could go in there and you could just go in and cry, I suppose.
Like working from home, I have like a wood pile, and if I have a bad day, I like just get the axe and I just go out and chop wood for 40 minutes.
Hell yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
amazing.
Okay. Patrick wins. That
Yeah,
sounds
we
awesome.
obviously need
Although,
this
like,
on
no one
YouTube
should
as
let me
well.
near an axe.
God,
Watch me sweating, chopping wood. It's like nobody wants that. That's just terrible.
I'll just put enough flannel shirts on and then we won't see. Right.
the flannel shirt, the beard,
Mm-hmm.
just yeah. I mean,
Turns
I'd
it
watch
into
that.
lumberjack ops. Yeah.
Make sure you
Yeah,
got
Well,
some-
I mean, consider my last name.
I always have to like, I feel bad, Joshua, that I always have to Google your last name before I type it somewhere because I spell it wrong a lot, including in calendar invites where I'm like, hey, I don't know how, but I do. Timber. It should be so obvious, but like
It should. There's two M's, but they're not together.
it's the M thing. I want there to be two M's, I think is
Yep.
the problem. I want there to be two M's. And then I'm like, is it Timber? Timber? No, that's not it. And it's just like, and then I'm like, I second guess myself, and then I get it right in my head, and I
Mhm.
second guess myself, and I have to Google it. So
Yeah. There's a triathlon, a Timberman triathlon, I think it is. I learned that when I first like started using the internet. I searched for Timberman to see what else, because I like some last names are common and some aren't, and apparently mine isn't.
oh, there is a video game on Steam called
Yes,
Timberman.
there is.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. It's hard.
Become a timberman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chop wood and avoid the branches. Chop wood. That's like ops, right? Chop wood,
Yeah.
carry water.
Avoid branches. It's like always ship trunk.
It's only 99 cents. All right. We'll have to do that for our next game hangout.
Right. We'll load it up on our M1 MacBooks.
Yep.
The other interesting thing about your last name is you're the only person I've ever met whose last name is a full name of a ESPN announcer. Because there's Tim Berman, who did like a bunch of ESPN stuff in the 90s. So that's like a callback, but I've never met somebody whose last name was an entire other name.
That is an element of trivia that I was not aware of.
Wait, his last name is Tim Burton,
No,
not his full name? I'm
So
sorry.
his full name is Tim Berman.
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 Berman is the last name. And
Huh.
Tim is the first. Yes. Let's see how this would happen.
Oh my gosh. I went on a genealogy adventure several years ago and found out that that probably everybody with the last name of Timberman is probably related in the US.
There's another Pete Cheslock in Boston, and it kind of freaks me out a little bit. I learned this years ago. I went to the doctor and they were like, oh yeah, like is your birthday like blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no. And they're like, yeah, you live on like something, something Com Ave, right? And I was like, no. And they're like, oh, I see. You're the other one. And I was like, the other what? Like, I'm like, you're telling me
I am offended.
there is another Pete Cheslock in Boston? And so of course, like I went to the Google and yeah, then I started actually getting, it made a ton of sense. I was getting like recruiter emails for like this biotech job. And I'm like, that's not what I do. And then I looked it up and like, turns out the other Pete Cheslock, he is like in biotech. And then one time he emailed me, he's like, I think this email was meant for you. And I was like, Pete, it's you. So yeah, someday we'll meet up in person. It'll be grand.
This
Well,
is,
there was-
this is not a problem that I ever have.
Fred.
Yeah, you just go for a walk around the, wherever. It's like there's another Fred Smith, one or two of you.
Actually, Fred is fairly unique, so I do not have that many overlaps, but the Smith definitely very common.
Yeah.
Poor Patrick, I know, especially in this area, like there's a lot of UPAT.
When I was younger, my grandfather lived in South Boston, and the South Boston phone book had like a whole page that was Patrick Flaherty's.
Goodness.
You're an unoriginal people.
I always want the T to be in a different. That's the C. This is like a repeated thing when it comes to last names and pronunciations. Like, Patrick. I always want to put the T in a different spot. I want to call it Flattery, but it's not. It's Flaherty, right? Flair.
I mean, yeah, it's just spelled wrong. I think, like in Irish, it's like Flarta. So, like, they came to Ellis Island, and some dude's like Flaherty, next in line, get moving. Like,
yeah.
So that famous careless Ellis Island scribe story, I've heard, is less true than people admit, because a lot of people anglicized their names when they came here to fit in purposely. They did it themselves. It's not like somebody was like, this is your name now, and they were like, oh, okay, whatever.
My partner actually he's a librarian, as I mentioned before, and he used to volunteer at Ellis Island in their genealogy center, where anybody can come in and use their databases and search ship manifests and things like that. And because of that, he now knows more than your average person about Ellis Island. And everyone has like these family stories where like, my great grandfather showed up with a very, a name very non-Anglo friendly, and some official there changed it for them, like it was a thing that happened to them. But he's always sort of beating the drum of all of the names that are recorded in Ellis Island came from the ship's manifests, which were created in the port of the destination port. So whatever you told somebody in the creation of the ship, like when the ship manifest, when you got on the ship, is what your name was when you arrived at Ellis Island. There's your fun fact for today. Your Ellis Island fun fact.
That's two wrong things. I have 5 minutes to get a third wrong thing for this live stream.
5 minutes. Your clock is off.
3 minutes?
Yeah, 3 minutes. There you go. I mean, we all know time is hard.
There's your
As is
third.
counting.
There's your third. Your clock is incorrect. Oh man.
I just did a Google search on a ancestral name that I remembered, and now I'm probably going to go on a genealogical adventure again. Sorry, Pete. I don't think I'm going to get any more work done today.
It's all downhill from here.
Yeah, I didn't find this one before when I did this. It's fascinating.
Where are you looking, Joshua?
This is I'll DM you.
Okay. I know there's I think it's like Family Search, which is run by the Church of Latter-day Saints, who have like one of the most like robust family genealogical database in the world. And then there's Ancestry, which I think you have to pay.
Yeah, I did a lot of it through Ancestry because I had a free account at one point.
Yeah, nice.
But this isn't on one of those sites. This is just like random person on the internet.
Oh,
put this in.
sharing like here's an ancestor who had 1 jillion children.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah, I
cool.
guess, because yeah, it's absolutely factual and believable, to be sure. Because I believe everything I read on the internet.
Well, that's good. That's a good starting point.
It's a good way to
Yeah.
live.
Do it right
I don't know
That's a good way to
if there's a
live.
better way.
Like
Right before
why
you
be
vote.
skeptical of anything? Just take everything at
My,
face value.
So my father-in-law is very, very interested in genealogy, partially because he was adopted. And as he went through ancestry.com and stuff, he found out that his father was a bit of a Lothario. Ended up finding like 4 or 5 additional like siblings up and down the East Coast, and like got in contact through them, which is wild to me. And he's like, "Are you interested?" I'm like, I have enough people in my life. I don't want to go find more people. I felt like a bad person because of it. But yeah, those sites are wild what people can find out.
Yeah, it is quite wild. I found there's a site called Find Your Gravestone that I found,
Yeah.
and that has all kinds of really wild information. There's like letters that people wrote, and of course obituaries and stuff. It's quite the site if you want to go on those kinds of adventures.
I would love to
mean,
stick around, but I have to go from this Zoom to another Zoom. So I will let you all.
Same here.
not everyone can
Indeed.
have a hardbound book about their family history here.
Pretty
So,
sweet.
you know, if you're
Dang,
serious about
that is enormous too.
Nice.
it is. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, wow.
600 pages of crazy business.
Wow. Right there on the
Uh,
shelf, easy access. Never know when you
right
need
there.
it.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Pete.
Tolkien.
Yeah.
This was
Bye,
fun.
everyone. You're all
Pete.
awesome. Thanks
You're
for
all
coming.
awesome.
I'm gonna
Thanks.
head out too. Thank y'all.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
All right. Last one standing, apparently.
I know. I have my old school obstacle
Yeah.
shirt on today because it was on the back of my chair for shits
Yeah.
and giggles. But yeah, so
Good deal.
cool, man. What are you gonna
Well-
talk about the next DD meetup?
Don O'Neill is going to do a presentation. I'm actually meeting with him here in a little bit to go over what he's got and make sure he's got everything he needs.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
just
gonna
editing a podcast episode with another mutual of ours. I have Wendy McIntosh lined up for an episode in November. That is, as I'm reading it, I'm like, this is really good. So,
click- Nice. Right on. And what's that going to be on?
I was gonna be on Page It to the Limit on Page It
Oh, cool.
podcast. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Molly, who is here,
Mhm.
is she's going to be, I'm going to be working with her on our content stuff with like our podcast and so on and so forth.
sweet.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Yeah. I'm going to stop the live stream.